Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevate Your Business, the show where we dive deep into the world of business success, along with the tactics and best practices used to get there. I'm your host, Ed Jurecki. Thank you for joining us today. Throughout this show, we aim to inform and empower business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs like yourselves by providing invaluable lessons and advice from successful individuals who've traversed the similar path of business ownership. Our guest today is no exception. So sit back, relax, and let's give a warm welcome to our incredible guest speaker today, Austin Setzer. Austin is the president of Contractors, Closers, and Connections, as well as the owner of Happy Guest LLC. Contractors, Closers, and Connections is a platform for connecting commercial real estate leaders and the necessary personnel to get the deal done, while Happy Guest focuses on extended stay rentals. As Austin joins us on the show, he will shed light on what success means to him personally and how his definition has evolved over time, as well as a challenge or two and the lessons he's learned through them. And finally, for today, we'll explore how Austin has leveraged innovation to manage and improve his business. So join me in welcoming Austin Setzer as we embark on another awesome episode of Elevate Your Business. And without further ado, Austin, great to see you again. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you
Austin,
so much for the intro.
great to see you again.
Absolutely, it was a
You've got
pleasure.
a heck of a story for us today. You mind give us a little bit more background about yourself and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I can kind of give the satellite perspective. I actually have a non-traditional journey. At young in life, I wasn't the academic and studious person that I've later become, and ended up dropping out in my junior year of college and bootstrapping an insurance agency, and ran that for about 7 years and did an exit, and then did pretty well. Nothing insane, obviously, starting with a zero budget, $0 budget, but ultimately gained a lot of experience and exposure on the pitfalls of opening an LLC incorrectly and not doing things right, to being able to understand, oh, here's a process and here's how you need to evolve, and to now running, like you said, Contractors, Closers, and Connections of Washington, D.C., where we focus on catering private high-end events, networking events, with an experience and a really purpose-based meaning for our executives in the area, where we bring together 5 verticals: development, investment, brokerage, management, and construction CEOs into a rim more so on the mid market scale, where they have a lot of outsourcing and need to focus on improving KPIs, and we bring them with individuals that have the solutions to their struggles and vice versa. And so we've been able to really get a lot of deal flow for our clientele and off market projects, and basically incubate and cultivate a lot of productivity through that. So it's been growing like a wildfire, very, very different from my previous ventures. And then getting into real estate myself, that's where the Happy Guest came from. And so buying properties, following the BRRR, buy, rehab, rent, repeat mentality. So just kind of pushing forward and trying
Outstanding.
to grow.
So how long have you been
Absolutely.
at it?
So my from the real estate perspective, my parents got into real estate in 2013, almost like a perfect timing. They come from a very meager background, where in 2001 they got scared on the market before 9/11 happened, fortunately to their standpoint, and pulled out all their investments and the little capital that they had, and held and started buying duplexes in 2013 with a $150,000 investment. And then ultimately today it's a little over $3 million of capital
Outstanding.
in assets under management. Yeah.
Oh,
And so that kind of started the bug of, hey, real estate makes sense. And this is a venture I want to go into. And in 2020, I went to GW for real estate development, got a degree, and got to hang out with really interesting adjunct professors who are, very successful in the DMV area, and taught all the secrets to performa, and figuring out the game, and asking for capital, and looking at sites and building. And so being able to put that interest in the little on the residential side together with getting the commercial side, it's been really exciting.
outstanding. That is an awesome journey. I've always loved the real estate journey and have been through the up and down cycles. My real estate businesses were started in 2005 and we finally closed the doors on them in 2019. So big cycle of activity during that period of time. So
Yeah.
When you think about where you were, where you're at, what's your definition of success today?
Yeah, I mean, success has changed by far paramount for me. I mean, if you would have asked me that question when I was 21, starting out, it's to, have the biggest bank account in the world, right? And to get as far as you can in capitalism. And today, really, because of what I do and what's brought me a lot of happiness and also fill my bank account a lot more than historically is really just connecting the dots for people. I mean, it's almost the reverse way of thinking, but how many people I can introduce and help and bring value into their life has drastically changed my life overnight. And so, for me, it's finding good quality people in this world and helping, provide them with other good quality people and almost being a professional matchmaker. And when you put, good people together, good results happen. And that's what I'm really excited about.
So you've kind of moved from that financial focus, and boy, does this resonate with me.
Yeah.
Move that financial focus to more meaningful purpose. Is that a
Yeah.
way to say that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I talk about the culture and I sit with my board and, we talk about what we can do within our organization, it's really, I try to compete against the Vanguards and Black Rocks, nothing against large institutions, but they're buying things, especially in real estate and controlling a market for return on capital purely, right? It's all about return on investments and shareholder value exclusively. And for us, it's we have the opportunity to be able to take high level professionals because DC has some of the smartest individuals in America concentrated in the little area and give them the necessary resources to build and preserve, community and culture and make good money out of it. You're not exploiting the same amount of returns on maybe a 25-30% short term IRR, but you're still making good money and preserving a good culture. And there's a value that can be a win-win situation. And so, arming as many of those individuals as possible has become a huge passion of mine.
Yeah. The power of bringing all those people together, I can imagine they love it because this is a
Yeah.
relatively new type of forum. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a franchise holder of the DC chapter, and we're working on expanding to a couple more markets. But Chris Meyer was the brainchild behind the total brand, and started in Atlanta in 2020 because during COVID, obviously a lot of the country went in isolation, and that was great for these massive institutions that have entire networks set up and have their ecosystem where they're able to help be able to move money and not necessarily have that face-to-face connections. But for us, it was the lifeblood of our business. I mean, if you look at the mid-market as a whole, it's paramount on developing relationships and growing and networking. And so we just were able to put together this forum and people wanted to come out and wanted to enjoy, wanted to keep meeting and greeting and build relationships. And now we're getting to a point where we have a national network of really successful and interesting real estate executives in 16 different markets. And they're not all looking for purchasing real estate solely in their backyard, but looking at diversifying and other opportunities. And the hardest part to do that is to know who are the right players and who do you trust getting on your job sites and helping manage and lending money and securing capital and doing joint ventures. And so to build an ecosystem where you're going to get a print repress, same model, same vetted rooms with top tier individuals and not having a bunch of vendors and membership model and just capturing as many bodies as possible. It's been really meaningful. I have friends now in all parts of America, and LinkedIn is a huge reason for that. But it's been really cool because we're meeting a lot of like-minded people, and it's been exciting.
Outstanding. So through this journey, and no business journey is without the obstacles and the challenges and things like that. What are one or two of the key challenges that you've encountered through your journey so far?
Yeah, every day you got to keep plugging the wheel. There's no secret to success. I remember when I was throwing my first event and we had no brand. We were really starting from scratch. And the day I picked for my first event, there was five major real estate networking organizations going on in DC. So it was like a major uphill battle. And I had about 400 RSVPs on my LinkedIn, but the show rate is obviously drastically smaller. And so what I did was I started just cold calling, reaching out, doing the traditional way to the knit and grit of getting your business started. I started connecting with people and was just like, hey, can I get coffee, lunch, can phone call, whatever made sense. And I started building a relationship and not trying to build a member. And really the center of what I did was I asked very specific questions, kind of like how your podcast is. As what is your core competencies? What are the asset classes you're focused on? What are you doing that is great? Because that helps me put them in front of people that are lacking in those areas. And then what are you outsourcing and what are you missing on your KPIs? And just trying to put them together with individuals and match them just with no expectations, no asking for any money or anything that's going to directly benefit me. Because if I turn someone to the next JBG Smith, they're going to love me forever because I've intrinsically changed their life. And so I know that reciprocity comes, but it's never a demand because then it's not genuine, it's transactional. And so I
Right.
think focusing on that has just gotten us through a lot of challenges, but also we have to look at ourselves and go, man, we're still young. I mean, I'm in my second quarter. This has been the fastest business that's ever kicked off. It's been just a snowball effect from the beginning, and we've been able to grow astronomically. I have 9 amazing board members that I sit back and I think, why are you friends with me? Why do you guys like me? Because they're just such awesome, heavy hitting professionals, and it's just genuine. But none of the hurdles really matter when you have the right mission and the right guidance. It starts to clear itself. The universe moves all the challenges away, and you have to put in the action. Because if you're not moving your feet, if you're not getting on the phone, if you're not talking to people, if you're not constantly sharing the value of what you're bringing, and you're not changing people's lives, nothing's going to come back to you.
Great. So they actually categorize under the category of relationship marketing, right? It's all
Yeah,
about building that relationship first. I love it. Absolutely.
100%.
And I can also say that if you would have come to me when I was still in my real estate and the growing part of my real estate businesses, I would have absolutely wanted to join a network like that because, like you
Yeah.
said, it really does provide a holistic set of solutions that start with the relationships that build on trust. And I'll tell you what, that word trust you use is so critical out there.
100%. I mean, I feel confident when I make introductions because of the time that we've spent. I mean, this is, our forum is a little different in the respect that we focus on the psychology very, very specific, almost in the like Disney approach, where when someone comes to our room, number one, we're vetting who they are. So we make sure that the right people experience our room. And secondly, we have high level of entertainment. We have fire throwers. We have professional hula hoop circus acts, magicians, very over the top, ostentatious entertainment. Because for us, we try to break down the barrier where it's not the wallflower effect. You're not getting like who's in here is the 5 old good old boys that are friends that hang out and create that little club. We shed all of that, and so
I love
everyone's
it.
open and honest. You have guaranteed meetups with certain people so that the conversations are meaningful, there's purpose behind it, and then you have experience and entertainment, which allows someone the next day when they make that follow-up phone call, it's, hey, did you remember seeing that aerial last night? That's crazy. And you break down all of those barriers. And I hang out with my friend. I mean, we travel city to city now and hang out all the time. And that's something that when I was 20 and I saw some of my friends that were older in the business, kind of my reference group, doing that, I was like, man, when is that going to happen for me? It's fun to actually see that change culminating right now.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations on that. You've already kind of touched on this part, but I want to focus on a little more specifically.
Mhm.
Innovation. What role does that play? And how do you foresee some of the innovations, such as the use of AI and stuff, impacting
Yeah.
your
So this is a very serious conversation in our national leadership calls that we have with all the franchise owners. We look at ourselves, even though our product is the entertainment and the networking core and the deal flow and putting the relationships and getting on projects. We're actually a data company. So we create a massive amount of contacts, right? We have an entire Rolodex. We scour all the forums like Zoom Info. We look for all the best apps out there to stay in touch, to create networks, to make sure that we know who we're talking to. We're very niche in specialization and trying to figure out, okay, this is our go-to person for this. This is the markets that they're in, and really try to hit on the LinkedIn for us is about 90% of our forums focus because it's a professional environment and atmosphere. And our competitors aren't in the sense, even though we don't really have the same kind of competitors, but the SOIR, the CCIM, the NAOP, the Cornet, all these other organizations, even though they have a different fundamental focus than us, and we kind of harmonize in certain ways because we lack on the education, we lack on the certifications and the lobbying. We focus more on the relationship building. They don't utilize the LinkedIn like we have. My board specifically has over 70,000 followers in the DMV area. So when we talk to a sponsor and we say, hey, this is what you're going to get for trusting in our brand, it's paramount. I mean, they're getting eyes on their screen. I went from 200 eyes on my LinkedIn page in a year was awesome from 2014 to last year to if I get less than 20,000 in this week, I mean, that's insane to me. I'm looking at like, what did I do wrong? Why is my messaging not right? How do I continue to get seen? And that's across the board with all of our leaders.
So, what do you think has been the core driver? Is it the solution? Is it the marketing approach? Because that is an absolute phenomenal growth in connections.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's going back to the genuine relationship. Like, everyone has their little niche in how they build their brand individually. And what I did and kind of goes back to like how I was trying to get people in my room at my first event, there's no greater way to tell someone what awesome things you do than actually showing them. And so what I started doing was when I got coffee, breakfast, or lunch with developers, investment folks from private equity, family office, high level brokers or what have you in the ecosystem. I made sure every single time I took a photo with them. I made sure that I was in a place in the restaurant that we were at or the location that we were at that I highlighted that business. And I just literally made it like a 30-second pitch for them, not even for me, just saying, hey, yeah, I had an awesome lunch with this person. This is what they do. This is their their core competencies. These are the type of things that they're looking for. Be on the lookout for them in the industry. And then I highlighted the business and made sure if the business had a LinkedIn because I wanted all of their eyes too. You're kind of like stealing every one of their followers for yourself and it started to kind of cultivate and I got to the point where after a couple of weeks of doing that I was getting 15 DMs a week of people just going love what you're doing, want to get to know you, when can we get on the calendar, this is what I'm looking for. And it's been really awesome and I don't think a week has gone by that I haven't had at least 5 lunches or coffees or meetings. Yeah,
That is
and
outstanding.
and and it's all with good quality people. I mean, there's it's never an opportunity. Even if I can't work with someone like last night, I was at a happy hour with an individual that was a jet pilot for the U.S. Army, and he's like, I don't want to waste your time. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Like, he's showing me his insane photos of him flying, and we're having great conversations. And he's trying to get into multifamily in the future, and I deal with a lot more established people, but there's always value I can bring people that work on smaller scales and help them out and to get in JV opportunities. And so I don't look at, any conversation as a waste of time. I look at it as, whether we can help each other now or in the future or if we can just have a good drink together. It's always a value to meet cool, interesting people.
I love it. Well done. So, if there was one takeaway that you would give our audience, what would that be?
Yeah, I think it's easy in especially in having corporate background to focus on the quarter by quarter and the immediate growth. And I think when you're getting into business, it is important to survive and sustain, but it's more important to think about, okay, where do I want to be 10 years from now? And what are the necessary steps that I need? Like, what does that look like? And what are the necessary steps to back up? And if you just look at the long game and don't worry about the short term, everything falls into place, especially if you're doing it for the right reason.
Anything you would say relative to the timeline in building these relationships to get to a point where it actually you can feel the value from a business perspective?
Yeah, it's different to every single person, right? Like building a friendship, how much time, right? It's kind of like in personal dating life. I had a relationship where in 2 weeks I was living with this person, and 5 years later, and we had such a greater amount of time together. It felt like forever, right? Versus like the normal dating sense, in the respect you meet someone for a couple of hours once a week, right? It takes a lot more time. But in a forum like ours, we've been able to expedite the relationship building because there's no cutting through fluff, right? It's kind of we take it, we remove it, and we really, really do talk to people like the same people every day. I mean, just from my board perspective, I'm starting to become very close friends with a couple of my board members, and a few of them I haven't really developed that relationship to the same level, but we're penetrating and getting there. And I think it's just about consistency ultimately at the end of the day. I don't ask for anything. When I started to build these relationships, it wasn't a, hey, can you use my product or service? I'm in the insurance industry. I've been in the insurance industry for 10 years, and I will always be in the insurance industry, making money, whether it's my full-time commitment or a part-time. But I don't ever ask in that respect. And I just generally care about getting to know people. I think, in
Okay.
DC, the adage is, you go to a bar, you have a drink with someone, you go, what do you do? Right? That's like the first thing. And if it's just, hey, what do you like to do? How do you have fun? And you focus on who that person is and what, see them as a human. I think it expedites that process a lot faster. And that's what we try to focus on.
Incredibly well said. All your points today, right on point relative to best practices. I congratulate you for the success that you've enjoyed. That's absolutely incredible. And although you've been at this latest role for a short amount of time, looks like you've got a wonderful world in front of you. So let's stay in touch, and down the road, let's have you back in as a podcast guest because I would love to know more about that journey. You've just been on an incredible ride.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to, share our message, and thank you for reaching out. LinkedIn is it's unbelievable. And
It
I
really
tell
is.
everyone, I'm like, you're not posting every day. Like you're crazy.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Cool. Well, thank you again.
Thank you all for joining us today, and a special thank you to our guest, Austin Setzer, for sharing his insights, experiences, and business recommendations with us. We hope this conversation has left you inspired, motivated to embrace the challenges of entrepreneurship with resilience, innovation, and adaptability. Remember, success comes in many forms, and it's essential to define success for yourself. Consider Austin's recommendations as you continue to navigate your own entrepreneurial journey. Embrace change, seek out opportunities for growth, and always be willing to adapt to the ever-evolving landscape of business. Thank you once again, Austin, and thank you all for joining us on this episode of Elevate Your Business. Take care, stay innovative. Have a great day, everybody.